Detroit is situated in southeast Michigan, where it sits on the edge of the Detroit River, a strait that connects Lake St. Clair and the upper Great Lakes to Lake Erie. Founded in 1701, Detroit was once a center for innovation, business, and culture. However, the bust of the auto industry and the economic decline that followed has left this legacy city, and many other Great Lakes cities like it, hurting as communities have been disbanded and disenfranchised. This has resulted in multiple challenges for Detroit. Municipalities can't afford to manage parks, leaving them filled with trash, unkempt, and unsafe. Due to this, a majority of Detroiters residents prioritize a want for safe, accessible green space. The economic decline, coupled with white flight, has left the city scattered with vacant and empty lots. About 16% of the 88,800 acres in the city are abandoned. In some neighborhoods, residents care for empty lots next to their homes, mowing the grass and keeping it clear of clutter, while in other places, empty spaces sit underutilized. Most communities within Detroit have combined sewer systems, where during storm events, wastewater from homes and rainwater is combined in a single pipe. During extreme weather, if the system is stressed and reaches flow capacity, it will overflow into a combined sewer overflow, or CSO, and raw sewage and rainwater will enter the Detroit and Rouge rivers. Updating the system costs an estimated $2.2 billion. These factors are compounded as the Great Lakes region is confronted with the realities of climate change. Precipitation is predicted to increase by approximately 15% in the Great Lakes region, making storms stronger and more frequent. This added water puts pressure on an already stressed infrastructure system. Residents are experiencing these impacts, with just this past summer in 2021, 9 severe weather events resulted in catastrophic flooding that closed I-94. This change in precipitation is a factor in the changing levels of the Great Lakes. Models forecast an increase in unpredictability and severity of Great Lake level fluctuation. It is unsure how this will specifically impact the Detroit River, but shoreline erosion has been impacting the Great Lakes within recent years due to high lake levels. Despite these extremes, the Great Lakes region is predicted to become a climate refuge for those seeking suitable living areas, fleeing warm southern regions of the Americas. This possible influx of residents and the development and impervious surface that follows would stress an already struggling sewer system. Taking these realities of an urban landscape's current struggles of disbanded communities, failing infrastructure, and unsafe open spaces, coupled with climate extremes of increased precipitation and population growth, I investigated a proposal whose goals were to increase both ecological and social resilience, connect communities, and provide safe green spaces through the creation of a green infrastructure network. This proposal examined the existing networks that could be modified or enhanced to promote stronger connections. In addition, future land use suggestions were analyzed. These areas are suggested for blue-green infrastructure, innovative ecological land use, and large parks, and factor in pattern of vacancy. Combined sewer system overflow were considered to address water quality and human health and safety. The common way of managing water in urban areas is to drain rainwater to pipes to be stored, cleaned, and eventually dispersed. This is much different than a natural watershed, where water travels from upland areas through a network to a water body. The concept of an urban watershed focuses on a specific ecosystem function within the watershed, and identifies urban sites to 3 functional topologies. Uplands is where rainwater falls and is collected, infiltrated, or dispersed. Within the urban realm, retention ponds and rain barrels are examples of infrastructure that is an upland function. Networks convey large amounts of stormwater and are often pipes or swales. Shorelines are the sink of this urban watershed and are along bodies of water and experience frequent flooding. This proposed strategy consists of 3 site types: capture, convey, and clean, each one holding a function within the urban watershed. With East Grand Boulevard as a main spine, this framework meanders within the Island View neighborhood and connects to the shoreline of the Detroit River. Within this design, it would increase green space over 16% within the city. It would also remove about 40,000 square feet of pavement from East Grand Boulevard. And finally, it would add about 36 acres of wetland habitat. Vacant lots within this area serve as a site for capture and function as an upland topology. A hammock grove shades a shallow swale that drains to a terraced basin. During storm events, this basin holds water for infiltration and retention. Native plantings along this site increase infiltration potential. An accessible pathway connect capture sites to each other and existing networks like bus routes. In the winter months, the basin is a perfect sledding opportunity and can even be filled and frozen for ice skating. Streetscapes, alleys, and other existing wetworks convey stormwater within the system, moving the water through bioswales and vegetated channels. The modification of Grand Boulevard removes the lane of traffic, creates a protected bike lane, and widens and sinks the boulevard to increase water management. In storm events, the boulevard and sidewalk planting infiltrate and convey water, a function enhanced by deep-rooted plantings in these areas. At the shoreline of the Detroit River, a clean site sits as a constructed wetland that manages a combined sewer overflow. This rendering shows a day after a large storm event, when the system was stressed and both sewage and rainwater was dispersed to this clean topology. Water first collected in a forebay, where sediments and other solids settle along the bottom. A limestone filter further certifies solid pollutants from the water. The water then enters a series of planted micropools and finally a free surface water zone. Throughout this process, selected plant species remediate, filter, and clean stormwater before dispersing back into the Detroit River. The river walk along this site floats in response to changing lake levels and flooding and allows people to interact with clean water away from sewage and the opening of the CSO. These strategies and site-specific green infrastructure can be applied throughout Detroit or other similar cities, both as a whole network or as individual modules. Interventions can be tailored to specific communities while following the structure of the urban watershed topologies. While not radical, this proposal provides practical and achievable solutions to the lived experiences that Detroit is facing today, the potential challenges it faces in the future.